good afternoon. I'm off to a late start today, but that's okay. Had to run to town this morning, so I got to run and feed the chickens here first. But as you can see, they're already out and about by the new grain shed, cleaning up all the stuff that we spilled yesterday. There was only like maybe a scoop and a little bit. It wasn't much. So actually, that project, despite the effort we put into it, actually worked very well. So today's going to be the first day where we kind of really seriously do chores out of that shed, and it's really handy, just the position. We put it right beside the shop, so it's not like we have to go too far, and that's important, especially when you're building homestead or you're thinking permaculture practices, to have the things you visit the most often as close and as accessible as possible. That's another reason why you can't see it from here, but beside the house, Carmen's got her raised beds. We're going to be growing all our kitchen garden stuff right beside the house in the summer. We just came in the chicken house and give them all their feed. You can see we suspend the feeder off this piece of baler twine here, but with the deep bedding building up on the floor, the last few days they've been kicking bedding into the bottom of the feeder, and then I'm having to dump it out. And as such, any of the uneaten feed is just going kind of on the floor, and I don't really like to waste food that much. So I did have to tie a quick knot in this thing, and as you can see, it doesn't really matter to them. This girl here, she's just gonna eat right from the top. Gotta have table manners. That fella there, he's singing for his supper. He might be singing for our supper here soon, I think. All right, so I just got done feeding the sheep, and I was gonna video this outside, but it is super windy, so I'm gonna come inside the shop, and you can see, there they are, chowing on their hay. The question came up, and I see this lots on social media, where folks say, well, how much should I feed a sheep? How much should I feed a horse? How much should I feed a chicken? And somebody will come back with the answer, well, it depends what breed they are, or it depends, really closed, non-contextual answers that aren't very helpful. So with the sheep, absolutely, yeah, what breed is it? What age is it? What are you trying to do? Are you fattening it? Are you looking for breeding sheep? What region do you live in? What's the quality of the feed you're feeding? What type of feed? Are you feeding grain or hay? Or what type of grasses are in your hay? All of that stuff matters. But that doesn't mean that there's not kind of a roundabout rule of thumb number out there. So back to these woolly friends of ours. You can see there's varying ages here. We have some of the older ewes that are about 2-3 years old. And we have some of the younger ones that are yearlings. These are eating an average of 3 to 5 pounds a day. So a good rule of thumb is 4 pounds a day. So they're right in the ballpark for sure. Even with the varying age, even with the varying breeds, they're hitting that number. So you're talking about a bigger sheep, something like that, you're maybe going to be on the higher end, about 5 pounds. The smaller ones, around. So like a Shetland, as an example, is maybe around 3 pounds a day. Your Suffolks or your Dorsets, some of the bigger breeds, maybe closer to 5. I see the same question come up with chickens. So good rule of thumb for a chicken, third of a pound a day per bird. And again, that all varies based on the different feed types you're feeding them, the size of the bird, the time of the year. There's lots of different factors, right? But anyways, hopefully that adds a little bit of context to some of these big questions that don't very often get answered very well. So I'm just grabbing the buckets here out of the back of the side-by-side. I'm going to head over to the grain shed and fill up the buckets. This is a thing. So we've put the grain in the shed beside the shop. The grain bags used to be there. There's still one there with barley for the cows. And there's going to be a change of routine. So we tried to make it as easy as we possibly can by having it close to the shop. But that habitual, come in here, just grab a bucket and then get that and then top it up with water. That habit is going to have to change. A routine is going to have to change in order for this to be easy. But I expect a few days where I'm going to come in and I'm going to find that I've left the buckets in the side-by-side in the morning or evening or whatever, as opposed to coming back and topping them up in the shed before I bring them in and get them ready. So that whole preparation phase, the stuff we do up front to make life a little bit easier, I'm gonna have to relearn that, I think. Anyways, I guess I never told you why I went to town, hey? Well, I stopped by Foster's Agri World and grabbed a new bale spear for the tractor. So it was $139 at Peavey Mart. I think it was $142 at Foster's for this, so pretty easy decision to support a local business there. So I got it on. That took me like 30 seconds to get that thing on and tight. A lot less time, let me tell you, than what it took to get it off, that's for sure. So here's the process. I've just fed the pigs, I got the buckets. We're going back to the grain shed to fill them up so that the next time it's time to feed the pigs, that part's done, and I just need to back to side by side out of the shop and go feed the pigs. Anyways, back to how much does a sheep eat? Let's run back to the back of the shop and have a peek out the window, see if they're still munching here or if they've gone their merry way. No, they're still munching away there. Anyway, so months ago, I was kind of looking into this. Like I know what a sheep eats, right? That's pretty easy because we have sheep. But if I want to get into having, I mean, we have horses as well as we have cows. But anyways, if I was to get into a different type of animal, how much hay are they actually going to eat? So I did find a really cool hay calculator. So by the type of animal, by the weight of the animal, all that stuff, you can just punch it in and it's going to give you kind of a ballpark number. Again, everything is, you know, really, when you get down to the specifics, things are going to change a little bit, but it does give you a really good idea of what to expect you're going to need. And then obviously you can times that by the number of days that you're, outside the growing season. So for us here, we're actively feeding animals 180 days of the year that they're not out on pasture, right? So quite a bit, like 6 months of the year that we've got to actually feed. So this is a really cool thing to help calculate, you know, coming into October, if I'm buying feed, how much I've either got to have stockpiled or how much room do I have to stockpile. And again, look back to food security. How accessible is that, you know, the feed types and stuff throughout the winter. So I'm going to leave the link for that hay calculator in the comments section down below. Go ahead and check it out. I hope you'll find it useful. For now, I got to go get eggs and then head in for an afternoon snack. Maybe sneak myself a cheeky cup of tea. So I hope you have a fantastic afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow.